Hi guys, Jon Watts here from the TruGolf Academy, and you've joined me at Drayton Park Golf Club, and today we're going to be talking about the hybrid putt. Now, first things first, you could use a fairway wood for this shot instead of a hybrid. So if you carry a lofted fairway wood, that would be fine too. My preference is for the hybrid, and the reason being is the shaft length. So the hybrids are built more like an iron length, whereas the fairway woods are built a couple of inches longer. And clue in the title, I want this to be very much like a putt. So I want us in a putting setup position that I'm going to talk through in just a second. And by getting in a putting setup position, it's meaning I'm a little closer to him, a little bit more tilted over. If I've got a shorter shaft length like I've got with my hybrid, it's not going to get caught up in my jumper or my jacket or anything like that at all. So it's a little easier to manage. But if you've got a 5-wood or a 7-wood or something like that, that would be perfectly fine as well. Something with just that little bit of loft on. Now, so my ball is here about 2 yards from the edge of the green, around 5-6 feet, and then I've got about 15 foot until the hole or the pin there. Now, the first thing I want to touch on is always use the simplest option. So if I could putt this, I'd go ahead and putt it. So if the ground conditions are good enough, grass is short enough, dry enough, consistent enough to go ahead and putt it when you're off the green, then choose that. If you can't putt it, can you putt it with a hybrid club or a fairway wood? If you can't do that, then you're into a chipping action. The options after that would be pitching, so elevating the ball. We'd do that because we've got to go over something or stop the ball a bit quicker. And the last option round the green would be a lob shot, so really opening that club face and flying it all the way. Always think of the simplest option first. So putt with a hybrid club or the fairway wood, chipping. Okay, and it progresses that way. So always think of the simplest option. Now, the lie I've actually got here now, the condition of the course is fantastic. We're now into June. The condition of the surround, the fringe grass, is actually fine, and I could go ahead easily and putt this. But for the demonstration of this video, or for the use of this video, I am going to, of course, use the hybrid, as that's what I really want to talk through today. So really what we want to try and do is get ourselves into a setup like we're putting. So what I do is have my feet around shoulder width apart, the same width I would use if I was actually using a putter. I want the ball to be slightly nearer my lead foot, my left foot. The exact position from this angle is underneath my left eye, okay, is how I teach it. So I want the ball nearer my left eye, so it's slightly forwards in my stance. It means we're hitting it with a slightly upward angle of attack. From a downline position, if I just grab another ball to demonstrate, I'm going to start with my feet or my legs pretty straight, tilting forwards from my hips to try and get my eye line nearer the golf ball. I really want my eye line to actually be on the inside edge of the golf ball, and that's how I would teach putting. That's how I'm teaching you to putt with your hybrid as well. So to create a slight arc, I actually want my eye line to just be onto the inside edge of the ball. I can test that by getting in my setup, tilting forwards from my hips and dropping a ball from my left eye, and it just fell, hopefully you saw it there on the camera, and just on the inside edge of the golf ball. That's going to allow some arc, some rotation, but not excessive. Now I'm trying to move the club more like an angle of a putter, so I just grab mine here. My putter lie angle is 70 degrees, my hybrid is closer to 60, so all I'm going to try and do is move my hybrid more like an angle of a putter. So I'm going to move it more upright by around 10 degrees. The reasons are exactly the same as they are in chipping. So hopefully you've seen part 1 of my chipping with the setup. If not, go and check that one out now. And that's just a case of moving that club more upright to create more of a pendulum action. I've just said there is rotation, and there is, but it's not excessive rotation. Okay, so I'm trying to use as much as I can natural forces, gravity and centrifugal force. So I'm trying to get in a more upright position where the club is moving pretty much straight back and through with a small amount of arc, a small amount of rotation, not excessive. If I got here, the club would be rotating a lot more. It'd be a lot harder to control not only the distance but the direction, the strike. Okay, so I'm trying to get that in a more upright position. The other thing from the setup here, I'm tilting forwards from my hips, my eye line on the inside edge of the ball. I'm just going to let my arms hang naturally. That means I'm going to grip it much lower down the shaft. So I'm actually right at the bottom of the grip, at the top of the graphite shaft there. And I really want to be also using my putting grip. So for me, I use a reverse overlap grip, and I'm getting both thumbs down the center to make sure the grip is very much up near my lifelines in the palm or pad of my hand or pad of my thumb. So rather than down in the fingers, much higher up, much more like I'd grip a putter. And again, that really stops too much excessive wrist action. So there is some arc, but not excessive in this shot. If you use a left below right or a claw grip, go ahead and actually try and use those as well. See what feels most comfortable for you. But if you can get it to feel like a putt, I think you're more likely to have some success with this shot. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this. I'm going to read this just like a putt. So I've already had a quick look at it. It's uphill. It's around 20 feet to the hole. It breaks a little bit left to right. Not a great deal actually. So it's only really a couple of inches outside the left. So I'm not chipping. I'm pretending that I'm putting. I'm just using a more lofted putter. So that was a perfect distance, just missed the hole by about 5 inches or so to the right hand side. So needed to aim it a little bit more left, but a perfect weight, perfect control. I have heard some people say they feel that the hybrid club, when they hit it, it comes off a little bit quicker than the putter. Try it first. Try it round the putting green. Try it out on the course. See what you feel. I actually feel that if I get it into this putting setup position, it feels to me that it comes off at a similar pace, a similar control that I'd have where if I was using a putter. So for me, it doesn't take a lot of getting used to, but I would encourage you to try it before taking it out onto the golf course. So what it does by having my club here 19 degrees is it just gets it a little bit more airborne for those first few feet if the grass was a little bit rough to go through, okay? So if I did have patches of grass or something a little inconsistent or a little bit longer to putt through, I can putt it with a hybrid and it's actually just going to get it slightly airborne for those first few feet before rolling. The other time this works really well is when the ball has rolled off the green, off the fringe, and it's settled between the fringe and that first cut. I haven't got a good demonstration of it here, so I'm just going to actually hold the ball up and just try and show you. So sometimes the ball sort of nestles against that, where you could almost only catch the equator of the ball. Now that's where you often see pros, or have seen pros in the past, using the bottom of a wedge, sometimes called a Texas wedge or a belly wedge, or even the toe of a putter. So the putter is actually cutting through the rough to be able to strike the ball. It's an okay option, but it's a high risk option. It's much easier to actually try this shot, but to try it with a hybrid club. Now, if I can only catch the equator of the ball, it is going to deaden the roll a little bit. It's not going to come out as nicely as it would do that shot I just played a second ago. So all I would do is I'd imagine I'm putting to a point about 2 feet or so past the hole, and I just pretend that rather than I'm just going to hit it harder, I just imagine I'm putting to a point a little bit beyond that to allow for the fact that it's not going to be as sweet a strike. The ball is going to actually bobble a little bit more before it turns into a pure roll. But it's still a great option to use on what is a very tricky shot round the green. I hope that's helped. Please make sure you leave us some feedback, any videos you'd like to see from me and the TruGolf team here. And please do remember to subscribe for free and follow us on all our other social media outlets that are all coming along the bottom of the screen now. Thanks, guys.